Hey, how's everybody doing? Excuse the outfit. It's been one of those, lovely weeks in New Hampshire where I'm trying to spend as much time outside as inside. And you know what? It's sweatshirt weather. It doesn't come around often. It's either too cold or too hot. All right, listen. I posted a live stream on my channel, Trading with Ed, Friday, because I noticed in my mind that there was the possibility of many stocks doing the same thing, which was going to effectively cause news, one way or the other. And that doesn't happen every day, but it is effectively what you hear about as news driven. So S&P went up 2% today. Numbers like that are considerable, so they'll influence the media. Oh, there was a big move today. Let's talk about it as a big move. But in the context of larger things, we don't know if it's a big move as compared to other big moves. We don't know if it's a big move in the right direction, wrong direction. So the news has limited experts and limited resources, whereas independent viewers like you and me, traders, professionals, as opposed to professional media people who just report on news, have better info. So this is for new stocks and bonds traders, ETF traders that are learning the ropes. And the ropes are difficult at first, until you realize, like, what is it that I'm doing that is making me anxious and nervous and making me feel like, okay, this is not what I'm supposed to be feeling. I'm getting used to feeling down, neglected, and depressed. I'm used to failures. Eventually it's going to turn around like a stock. Well, you're not a stock. It might not turn around. Okay. You might infinitely lose. You might be at a point right now where you've lost a lot. It's okay. Everybody picks themselves up. You might say, I was ambitious and I missed a few details that beginner traders learned that I didn't learn. So without further ado, what am I talking about again? I wanted to go live. I wanted to go live because I saw the price of many stocks that have a lot of attention, whether they're energy, oil, IT stocks. We're at a point where everybody was saying, oh, good, that the stocks are going to turn around. The stocks are going to go back up. This is great. I'm sure they've hit their bottom. But if you extend your focus and you realize, well, they're in a no man's land, they're below the long-term moving average. There's no real indication that this is going to magically turn around. There's too much anxiety in the news, too much fear of missing out. People really are going to learn from their pain. So if the stock went down a lot, they're not going to jump back in to take more pain. They're going to wait until they have confirmation. And that confirmation takes so long that it's impossible to trade with impulsive YouTube day traders, because they're looking for good news, because good news sells. Bad news is not going to help them. So with all due respect, I'm a professional financial analyst with a master's in IT. I use tools and tricks that other people might not know of. But I also use the fundamentals, and here's what I'll tell you you need to pay attention. Zoom out to your 3-year, and it's going to tell you, obviously, there's no reason to predict the stock is going to go up until you see things. And when on Friday I went live, I said, clearly this is the point of no return for some stocks, because they're going to touch a moving average, and that's either going to send them continuously down or temporarily down. And on a rare occasion, they'll bolt through them. What ended up happening is the stock market activity was pretty slow. So although stocks moved because of the low volume, there really wasn't a thrust up. I didn't quite reach those points. Today, however, I'm going live, and I'll show you right away that we did. We did reach and go through those moving average curves, which indicate interest. So the volume, regardless of the volume, there will be activity, and the volume will pick up. So without further ado, shall we share? I'm going to go to next era to give you just a very simple example of what I mean, what happens to a stock. All right. And what happens to the stock when it hits those moving averages. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm Ed. You're watching Trading with Ed. I'm looking at, okay, to the left, I always like to check out some things with my audience. And if you go in and you see some of my videos, you'll notice that I have a few videos on beginning stocks. So I look at a few things. I look at price. Really, the really big deal that I look at is price, but I'm also fundamentally looking at volume. I also look at stocks that trade, let's just call it over 5 to 10 million a day. Um, and obviously this is one of them, but it's not something that a beginner trader knows about right away. It's called sqqq. sqqq meets my criteria. It trades well above my minimum. It's traded so voluminously that a beginner should start thinking about it. I wouldn't trade it, but I would think about it. sqqq does the inverse of the Qs. So as it goes up, the S&P or the Qs are going down. As it goes up, the sqqq is going down. However, it's a great place to show what it does when it hits certain points. It either is going to it's in a downward market, it's bouncing off the blue line. Okay, it's gravitating towards the red line. It's a short-term moving average. That's where the stocks tend to gravitate. You need to know that. In a bear market, it's not even getting to the blue. When it's done being bearish, it seems to have settled quite nicely between those lines, popped over. And once it's popped over, you'll see that the trading activity, the amateurs or the professionals decide, let's give it a go. And the activity is high right around those days. Okay, it's high because there's indecision here. Is this stock going to crash? That indecision bar here, is that meaning that it's done going up, it's going to come down? Is it going to come down to the red? Well, it's going to come down to the blue. Before it was resistance. Now it's served as support. So now a higher high here meant people were getting in. Sure enough, high volume, they got in. Now it's indecisive. Went up. It couldn't get over that yellow bar. But that means that for the last several weeks, as you can see, or several days, we are tracking days. Notwithstanding that activity, this is telling me the stocks have been going down. So isn't it natural that it would catch a breath? If this was the Qs, you'd say it's natural for it to catch a Fibonacci retracement and continue up. In this case, it's catching its breath. It's not doing a real big retracement. It's showing me lower highs. That is impressive, a lower high. Some might call it a bull trap, which is to say it's a conversation for another day, meaning the bulls would like to confirm higher highs like they did here, from there, here, from there, here, from there. And it looks like they'd rather confirm it on green days. So today, we are at a lower high, but we're also at a higher low from that day. So right now we're at a period of indecision, and we're nowhere near these yellow or red lines, which means there's definitely some uncertainty. Okay, that's the larger QQQIT section. We believe they're in a moment of indecision. If you were to use technical analysis correctly, you might say that the low or high indicates that we're going to go down. Okay, and that's fair. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's unclear what it's going to do when it hits that red line. Is it going to pop back up or go through? So we got a lot of work to do. And if we in general look at the average of the stock price, it's trading right around the average of the 4-day, 5-day, 6-day, 7-day. It's not looking great for bears, but it's not looking great for bulls. So let's move to something clearer. NextEra Energy. How does it fare when it approaches these red or blue lines? When it's too extended, it comes back down. When it's too extended, it comes back down. It's in generally positive territory when the red line is going up, and it's generally negative when the stock is trading beneath it. Now, those are beginner fundamentals. If you're beneath a red line, you're probably bearish. So I'm beneath it here, and the stock went from 73 down to 72. Not a time to go buy that stock. However, ambitious investors would say, let's take a look at it when it hits the blue line. And it's just not doing it. It's just not staying over the red or the blue. So again, where are we? We are in bearish territory. That's what that's all about. But what you need to pay attention to are also these horizontal lines that are drawn. In this case, we reached one of them. It's a previous point of interest, both from volume perspective. All these lines here were interesting for me for volume perspective and ranges. They were, this is clearly a massive place of interest. I think the stock can go down, which we don't want it to do if we're bulls. I'm neutral. So I noticed that my line was touched today, touched it around 11:30, and it bounced. So that line was critical. We are beneath the long-term average, it looks like here. And so my concern is the stock's going to have a cow when it gets there and trade in a range. So not much to do about that. But does it give me any more clarity? Again, look, the yellow line worked out for us. Okay, this is probably the hourly chart. Taking a look at the daily chart, we'll notice that we are, all right, we're looking at a different line I got drawn over there for whatever reason. So I guess I was looking at this point, which served as support, resistance, support, resistance, and today we crashed through some things. So I'm technically in bearish territory again today. I'm above the long term on the 1 month daily. That's a good thing, but I'm below that red and blue line. Okay, for whatever reason, I just got kicked out. We're gonna get signed back in here. This is my penny trading account, so this is I'm up 400%. I've taken some cash out, obviously. We were looking at sqqq, and then we said we're not only just looking at sqqq, we're looking at NEE. Can't thank you enough for joining me today. This has been a pleasure. Lots of fun. And just bear in mind that Charles Schwab lets you look at various events on the homepage, news. Next Era provides outlook and slide presentation, expects 6 to 8% annual EPS growth. That was in the morning. Dividends, ratings, earnings. But I go right to the I go right to the chart. I come down to this chart that I had made in the past. It has horizontal and vertical lines indicating the following. Vertical lines include high volume areas. So there was a lot of interest here on January 23rd, a lot of interest here. And you'll notice that the interest is beneath all three lines. They're like, we expect this stock to revert to its mean and that it's popular. So that's effectively what the vertical lines are, and the horizontal line shows you how many times it's basically been in that particular price range somewhere. So big support line down there for me at 68.50. It's a couple bucks below where we are now. Stocks tend to go towards the averages. So if you think about it, stock is a little below, but not as much as down here. It's a little below. It has room to go. Sometimes they refer to distances in terms of legs. From 76 to 73 is $3. From 73 down to 70 is $3. So if we're trading in a range, clearly the top is 73 and the bottom is 70. You're right there in the middle. Notice that with a lot of stocks these days, they're right in the middle of the average over the last month. Slightly bullish over the month, but closer to the bottom than the top range. So there you have it. Next Era Energy. What it does is it has a spaz when it goes over the yellow line, and it's having a spaz now. Is the yellow line the average? Or is the average somewhere between? I'd say the average is somewhere between, in that it's eventually going to go up, but it's not clear if it has anything anywhere to go but down for a few hours. Okay, let's go to the 1 month. Okay, what was glaring to me and what I made a note about, I said on my notebook, next era energy on March 18th must see the 30-minute chart, because it tells me exactly when that long-term moving average was broken on the 30-minute. When it was broken before, it shot up. When it was broken before, it shot down. When it was approached here, it was going up. It doesn't mess around. That yellow line is a huge trading day. So today was a huge trading day and not a good one, right? It's horrible for the stock if you look at it on the 30-minute chart. A dollar of $72. How should we put it? So 70 cents is 1%. It looks like it went down about $1.30. That would be about 1.5% in one day. That's a lot, but it happens. It happens, and conversely, a move up. So the stock isn't likely, when it makes a move like that, it's not likely to go back up another percent today. It might go back up in a while, but that sort of force in the down direction, I'm sure, is scaring investors, which is why I went live today. I wanted to show you the impacts of the charts. I also said, see the 1 hour where although the chart has been rebounding since 12 p.m. and it's now 2 p.m. I said it's slowing down at around 150 before 2 o'clock, as it appears to be reaching a yellow line on the 1 hour. So it's slowing down as it approaches that 1 hour, as it approaches the yellow line, and it's gone down. Is it going to break that support? So for me, it's critical to know, what is that price I'm looking at? I'm looking at this price here, and this price here is somewhere between the high of the day, 70.81, and the open, 70.81, so right around 70.75. That's the price that I think is important. Is it going to respect it or go down? So let's see what happens. If I was a day trader or scalper or swing trader, I would say a 1% move is not really a scalp opportunity. It's not like overbought or oversold, but we can double check if we want to some indicators later. So, such as the relative strength index. That's again for beginners, but not on this video. I'm really looking at technical analysis from candlesticks and the moving averages. So I'm proud to say my line worked for next era. It was respected. Is it going to? So it's now stuck in this little range, and it's not going to be stuck there forever. So that being said, let's look at another stock that I've been looking at today. And again, just to show you the importance of today's trade, I'm going to take you to another stock that I've been watching called Microchip. And bear in mind, at the top of the Schwab tickers page, so if you go research, it'll show you what you've looked at recently. It'll tell you the sqqs have been up considerably. That's shorting the IT. NextEra has gone down. CLAC is an important stock for me. We'll look at that. AOSL is interesting. BST is interesting. Tucos is interesting. Apple's down 1%. Netflix is down, but it had popped earlier on news of an upgrade. There's Microchip. That's the stock we were going to look at next. The other energy stock actually that I wanted to look at and compare in terms of strength was Vistra Energy, because I'm in my note-taking mode. Okay, so during the next hour or two, we're just going to take notes. Okay. See what happens to this stock. It gravitates to the average. These averages are going down, and it's respecting the long-term average. So that's good that it's respecting the long-term average, because it's slowing down the slopes of the red and blue line, and cumulatively the average. The longer this goes on, the longer this stays, the moving average stays and serves as support. The longer this stuff, if this had continued to go down, that would have been an issue. It's interesting because Fibonacci retracements, which are often referred to as technical analysis, would say, let's take the move, let's measure this move in the downward direction from 170 to 110, $40, okay, and then divided by 2. 40 divided by 2 is 20. And so $20 is halfway. If I go back up halfway, which it did, 130, that's a healthy down slope. Okay, so it didn't break it. So unfortunately, from a technical analysis, we're stuck with the reality that this looks like a bearish trend because I'm below the red. I'm only at the yellow. I spent a lot of time below the yellow. The longer that I, can't make higher highs, the more careful I need to be, because this stock has room to go down or up. It likes this range. It certainly likes the range of 120 to 130. It's not clear to me that it can stay there indefinitely. And so there was a gap, high volume gap. Gaps like to be filled. If this was a healthy correction, a healthy bear market, we've got room to go to the downside. Okay, so people are going to be bearish. I like to start far away because we've been in a bear market. We've been in a contraction, which was scary to many people. So I said to myself, let's look at the chart in the past and say, well, since the election really is what everybody's talking about, or since Biden started to crap himself in public, the prospects of spastic growth with the Donald Trump administration outlived its welcome, because, as you see, he's actually come down to earth, and he's only a little bit better than Biden, right? And so we'll have to say this is the new range. The new normal is this 120 to 100 to 180. So I'm not confident that this yellow line is going to offer support, although that red line is creeping up. And I've noticed in the past in other stocks that when that red line is creeping up, let's see, when that red line is creeping up, and this was an attempt to, I think, correlate some volume, or what I thought was a good point of control right here. Point of control meaning the stock tends to spend time at that price. It goes up and down. It's resistance and support. God, you got to be real gentle with this thing. All right, let's go. All right, that's good enough. So, yeah, kind of like in the other next era thing, I need to see if this line is going to hold or break. It's not going anywhere fast. If you were smart, you'd put on a position that you thought reflected where it's going, up or down. It's going to take a few days, but that's why we're live. All right. So we looked at the 3-year. That's looking bearish. Okay. When I look at the 1 year, which we've already done, the 1 year is sort of saying if that red line goes beneath that yellow line, pretty much things are going to get scary. If it bounces, things will maybe hang out for a while. I like the energy sector. This might be overbought. I think we're right in the middle of a range that could go down further before it goes up. But I'm inconclusive on it. I mean, the volume line that I have here, I don't have any volume on this one. It looks like the high volume price would have been January 27th. January 27th is exactly where that red line is. So high volume tends to follow. So right now, I'm looking for that point where the red line and the stock price meet, and they do seem to be wanting to come together, but I'm not showing momentum to the upside. So I'm going to be slightly bearish. Why was there high volume in May on this one? Probably news, but more importantly, it's not totally relevant right now. It serves as a future point of control, and obviously it could be a future point of control again at the $80 mark. Although this might be a point of control, a range, here where it was at, that. So if you took the law of averages and you tried to say, all right, the stock should go between where it was at this high volume node, so that's 139, this high volume node, which is at about 81, okay, subtract 81 from the high volume node of 139, so it's got 140 and 80. That's a $60 price difference. Let's say $30 on the downside would be the middle, so $30 would be at 110. Sure enough, it came down to 110. That's the law of averages in live, okay? And that's the price where it wants to be at. It's the price where it's at. In theory, it wants to creep up a little bit because it didn't hang out there much longer. So we're right in this crazy range here where I'm not comfortable. So again, on the 1 year plan, I'm actually going to click on the bar and draw this line here. We said this was at about 140. This bar over here was at about 80. High volume here, 79.80, whatever we said it was. We're going to save the chart. When we need to come back to it, we will. Okay. For whatever reason, we're approaching a resistance point. We are beneath it and probably not going to respect it. I'm going to save the chart. I'm going to save it in my traditional modus operandi. Today's 18th, and we're looking at the ticker VST. We're looking at 1 year. I'm not going to make it my default, but so let's move on. We did 3 year, 1 year. Now we're looking at 3 months. Looking daily. The stock is scared of the red line, is my way of putting it. And that's why I went live on Friday. Friday was the 14th. I said on some of my stocks on the 14th that I was looking at, we were approaching the red line, and that was either going to cause a bounce or we were going to go through, and volume wasn't there. So we're respecting that line. We are trying not to have a spaz in either direction. Will it last? I don't know. I'm looking for an opportunity for the market to spaz. So I may have realized that it is good to look for it. Like here, it's spazzed. Here, it's spazzed. We got a ways to go. It tends to spaz when those lines seem to be close to each other. Right now, they're not. So I'm not looking for a spaz. I'm looking for temporary pause in in erratic behavior, which we all want from time to time. So we'll look at the 1 month. The 30-minute chart is clearly showing that we are not able to get above that yellow too easily, but we are staying above the blue. We are below the red there. Now we're below, then we're up. We're going to see what happens. We're stuck right there in that middle. We're stuck there. We know there's a range. We know there's a range in the past couple of days. Okay. We know the range has been, you see the selling that happens there when it's on the red line, but less of it now. We know the stock can go as high as 130 on the 17th. That's yesterday. Okay, we know that it can go down as low as 120. This is a nice place to be at if you're a trader, because it looks like you're above the medium term and that you're safe on this one. It looks like it, right? So if you look at an option a couple weeks out in the future, might not be a bad idea. Again, this is on the 30-minute chart. I mean, it doesn't get any clearer. It's not something to ignore. So what were we going to look at next? At this point, we're going to look at Amazon, and then we're going to take a lunch break. And then we'll come back and recapitulate the day. Beginning traders. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to try to save it after we look at Amazon for a while. The news came in saying equity markets drop as tech stocks are selling. FOMC meeting is coming, and the idea of them raising interest rates right now is interesting, or lowering, I guess. And it's probably the case they're not going to lower the interest rates. That might be perceived as bad news or good news. So, yeah, that's not real pretty what I'm seeing over here. Now, Amazon broadline retail dropped 1.5%, which is about a little more than we saw with the other ones. But its chart is telling me it's at a low for the past 3 months. It's going to move toward its average, there's no question, but will the averages move down precipitously if this doesn't move up? I don't know. It's got to go up eventually, or it's really going to send the market in the wrong direction. So Amazon we like to track because it's a scary one. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our sweet old time. We don't have a lot of notes. We didn't have a lot of notes, did we, for Vistra? But give me a moment as I try to give it the see the 1 month, 30 minutes, and we are range stuck. Could go as high as 140 and as low as 110, I guess. See 140, 110. And then that's it. Now we're going to Amazon. Because I don't think we saw much on the hourly, did we? We didn't see much on the hourly. We're below things on the. We're so far below on the hourly that we could be positive. Hourly could be positive because average. I think the averages. I think we're a little below the averages. And then if we look at the 3 months for fun, we seem to be 3 months above yellow. That's okay. And higher highs. That's good. That's okay. And I think that if we are to meet a higher low, I think that higher high is not set. That lower low, I think we're caught in that no man's land. What about the 1 year? Yeah, stuck between the yellow and red on the 1 year. All right. And see 1 year stuck slowly at beneath at red. Beneath red. It's not great. I'm definitely not as happy with Vistra, I think, as I should be. But we're moving to Amazon. We're looking at the long-term view of Amazon. Now, these are all those lines that I was telling you about that help a beginner trader understand levels, points of control, points of interest. We are looking at these vertical lines show volume activity, and we are now in a new range where we're beneath the long term, okay? Beneath the long term. The red line has recently crossed the blue line, and if the red line touches that yellow line, we are waiting for a massive moment. So there's definitely fear, and I don't see anything to change that as long as we can stay flat. 2 years probably going to show the same thing. 2 years tells me that red line's about to crash the yellow. So as you can see, we've got people getting out. People are getting out. I mean, that's what we'll say. 2 year, obviously. See 2 year red going beneath yellow. Gap down. Okay. Not much to tell you guys. That's not good. Again, it's respecting that line though that I had made before myself, which is the 188 mark. Seems to have bounced off the 188, correct? Like today. Low was 189. Okay, so it's respecting that 188, 189 area. That's good. Can it hold on to it or what? I mean, that's amazing how my charts are working, isn't it? If it's here, then the next it can go as high as 200. It needs to. It's not looking like it wants to right away. So this is starting to look appetizing. But I won't call it appetizing. That's not true. I'm getting ahead of myself. On the 1 year, same thing. That red's coming down. One at a time, people. 6 months. I like this range here between that red line and this one here. Maybe this one here. Momentum may push the price down to 180. Unfortunately, you can't be emotional. You just have to be like visual. You have to be visual, and I find that helps. Low volume day. There they are, all my charts with the volume indicators. That the volume at the red line was high. The volume at the red line was high. The volume at the blue line was high. The volume in no man's land was high, but it was high when that red line crossed the blue line. It was high here when the yellow line was touched. It was almost high there. They're afraid of it. They're not going near it. They're waiting. They know that red line's coming. Red line coming. This isn't good. There's fear, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's fear, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay. That's the 6 months. Let's look at the 3 months. We're zooming in to see where are we today, because 3 months is good. Let's take our time, beginning trading, taking our time. We like volume. Said we like volume over 5 to 10 million. This is well over. It's very low today. Very low. And on 3 month, right? We said 3 months. It started. The opening price was right there at 225. We're now at 190. That's not good. That's certainly called negative momentum. It's beneath these moving averages. That's not good. It's got nowhere to go but up, really. Unfortunately, it's got nowhere to go but up in the short term for another day or two. But who's to say it won't go down, right? That's what we were looking for, a big move. Really, really, that's what we love. That's what we live and die by, a big move. All right, then beneath the red line, are we going to bonk when we get it? It looks like we're slowing down. We're not really able to do much here. It likes to go from the red to the blue line suddenly. It does like to do that. Not always. It's not clear to me. This is really tight, tightly wound. See 1 month, 30 minutes, tight. Tight at 30 minutes. My notes suck. That's the story of my life. I don't often go to 10 days. The issue that people will talk about as traders is how's the volume. So look at this. Yellow was touched once, twice we got over it. The last time that happened was, I'm looking here. I'll draw the chart for you. Right here. But the difference might be the volume. So I'm not as pleased. All right, that's one place where there was some touching. Yellow lines touching right there. And that precipitated interest. Push and shove. See, it was support here and here and here. Then it was resistance. Then it was basically support. Now it's resistance. So, not happy. Not much to do. Again, can't thank you enough. This is a great old time. It really is. This is beginning trading. That was a sneeze. A concern for Amazon, and I'm fine with this concern, is if there's a new range here, because we're in a progressively bullish market. We're hoping for a bullish range, okay? That's a bearish range. Okay, I really need to see the volume, and I really need to see what the 10-day 1 minute is interesting, okay? But it's only going to serve its purpose in the context of the 10 minutes. All right, what are we talking about on the 10 minute? On the 10-minute, I'm still beneath the long-term moving average. And usually doesn't go over the yellow unless the red is crossing as well. It looked like it could be doing that. You see what I mean? Because here, when the red line, when the price is going over the blue line and the red is going up, that's good. The price is under the blue line. It managed to go up, but it came back down to fill that gap. So this isn't looking great, but it is worth analyzing. That's what I wanted to see. Is we said there was volume on this day. To push that up. Not a lot of volume here. Will it come in at the end of the day? I mean, this is what I was dealing with on Friday. This week there's news, FOMC news. So I'm more than likely going to bet this is going to go down in advance of the meeting. And I will say as much. In my notes, see the 10-minute 1 month. Below yellow. Below blue. Above the red. Above the red is good. The volume was in advance of the decline. So volume is often good. Thanks for watching. Okay, again, you see how that horizontal. Bonked. It's not getting over the yellow. There's no reason to think that it can't go up to the yellow. But will it bonk? Or will it soar? Save this. 2025. Month of March. Today's the 18th. The ticker is Amazon. 10 minutes. Make this my default. Why not? We said the 5 days, half hour. What's that one going to tell me? Well, we'll below a lot of shit here. Now, again, my lines seem to work as resistance. We're gapping down beneath it. We seem to be going over it. I think people are going to like that on Amazon. They're not afraid of it. When you're not afraid of it, when you're crushing up through it, you crush up through it. We're probably going to go up and down, people. Huge volume. We're nowhere near that volume. It likes to gap up. It likes to have a candle when those lines touch. Whew. Is there going to be buying or selling at the end of the day? You tell me, people. It's scary, and I'm not having it. Five-day, 10-minute. It's making some moves right now. Right at the blue line. What's it going to do? It's going to go from blue. Holy shit, here we are. I'm going to draw it. When we're ready to make the move. Every stock market that's a professional is watching this on Amazon because they know there's a move coming. And I tried to go live Friday about it. Didn't happen, did it? So we know, for instance, that's a pretty line, isn't it? Kind of fucked it up. Oh, I cursed. Give me a break, people. Okay. I'm Catholic. I'm going to confession right away. Dear Lord, thank you for your patience with my exuberance. So there was not a lot of trading volume on the way down, which means not a lot of confidence that it's going down. And sure enough, it went up. How does that compare today? Not a lot of volume. What happened on Friday that I was telling you guys about? Friday, I sensed, all this was going on. We're getting close. As I said, by 1:30, something's going to happen. And you know what? Nothing really happened. What I expected to happen did happen, but it didn't happen until Monday, I guess. Because it did go down, but it stayed up. This time it appears it's trying again. There's not a lot of volume. The volume has tended to be bearish. Will it change? Is there a reason to think it'll change? It's volume here for some reason. People wanted something to happen, and it didn't. It went down. These are called lower lows, okay? From the point of interest down to that low, lower high, lower low, lower low. I'm going to mark off that low here. That low was resistance. Okay, so that low was resistance today. Got over it, got over the red. So there's some buying here. Now we're stuck. Lower low, higher high. There's that high. You could be finicky and say there's the high. So that range is there, 198, 199. Can't get above it. How often is price at the blue line? Whew. People want a big move. big question is, all right, we saw Amazon. It's what it is. All right, so day traders, we're gonna stick to the basics. Amazon is trending up. It tends to go to the yellow line. Doesn't stay away from it very long. Everybody's probably getting into it. They like to get into it at an even price. I guess all we can do is watch Amazon. I mean, we're stuck. We are stuck. We know it's going to go up a little. Or it could go down a little. Point where I'm either rejecting it or going to go over it. I think it's got to. I think it's got to reject it personally. It's just not staying over. Looks like it can go as high as $2 over the yellow line. A little higher. It's got room to go. It really isn't staying over the yellow line too much. I mean, there's not enough movement, I think, to even pay attention. Whew. Scary, though. I'm going to take a scare. This is scary. I knew it was going to be scary. I didn't realize it was today. I wanted to get past it on Friday. right, let's hit refresh. You know, it can go about a couple bucks above the yellow. So why don't we wait till it gets a couple bucks above the yellow and put in a trade up and down, see what happens for a joke. All right. Oh, it's just settling in there, isn't it? It's not going anywhere. Just kind of sitting there. We said above the yellow line. What just happened? What happened? We clearly said we were looking at 10-minute chart. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we said when peculiar. I thought we said it was going up a couple bucks above. Maybe it was on the 5-minute. All right, let's check the 1 minute. What the hell? We said on the 1 minute chart, it won't go much more than a couple bucks above. So a couple bucks would be from here on. Let's be precise. Okay, we said here on March the 12th at 9:30 a.m. It was trading at about 21.50, and the yellow line was at 198. So maybe $3. Say $3. It's already starting to come down here as it went over. What's going on now? How did this happen? In a couple minutes. Oh, see, we were up here. We were at 198, a couple bucks above it, and it's come down. Shoot, that's interesting. That's a lot of volatility. We stayed out when things got tight, and that was smart. That was really smart. The selling has begun, okay? On the 1 minute chart, the selling has begun, but I can't tell. Here, maybe we can draw volume. Everybody got nervous. They started selling. So what we're really looking at, again, is that point of control was rejected, okay? We're doing it. But on the converse, how long can it stay? I mean, we don't even have a blue line, do we? We're well below the blue line. When the blue line peaks, it's not great, is it? Whoa, I'm glad we stayed out of that. Okay. I mean, can't thank you guys enough. You see, it was tempting to say this shit was going up. The exact drama. I mean, look at that. In 1 minute, we took out a lot. Those are the trades I want to be in. I want to experience that thrust where, okay, I'm in the 198, 194 put, and I've already doubled my money. And it looks like that's what's happened. As soon as it touches that yellow line, man, as soon as it touches that yellow line, it has a shit. It really pooped. The question is, yeah, well, we missed it. There's nothing we can do. It could go down indefinitely from here. The low of the day. Will it make a massive poop? You know, you could say it could go up or go down, but it's just moving too fast. As a beginner, we're just learning. The whole purpose is we're learning. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. We know this shit's probably going to hit the fan. Again, I got a line here where that's the range. It's respected that freaking range that we've been looking at. All right, let's move on to another stock. Let's go back to why is that screen up? We don't have that screen up, do we? I mean, would it be safe to say that people are shorting the Qs? I mean, it looked like the Amazon was going down, right? So shall we refresh this? The last time we looked at this, we'll look at it together. The last time we looked at this, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at shorting. The Qs have the inverse Qs. Look at me, I'm not shaved, and thank you for your patience and everything. As of 222, people were shorting the market, but not in a dramatically higher or lower fashion than they had been a couple days ago. So we noticed that people stopped shorting the Qs for a couple days, Thursday and Friday or Friday and Monday specifically. Let's refresh the chart, and that they started shorting it today. Right with you, lad. All right, so they started shorting it. It's gone up. We noticed it was at 42 a minute ago. 222 was 42. So they're shorting it again. Taking its sweet old time. I mean, I imagine I'm not the only person interested in this chart today. I imagine you guys are interested in this chart today. I don't know why Yahoo Finance takes forever to refresh, and I'm sorry because I can't really control that. So you can get mad at me all you want. I don't mind. It could be my internet, right? So you said at 2 o'clock. They're not shorting it as much, are they? What symbol are we looking at? Are we looking at the Qs or the S&P? Okay, so the S&P isn't getting as shorted as much. How's the Qs going? The Qs are starting to get shorted. I mean, I don't know what to tell you people. "30 minutes one thing, 15 minutes is another." If Amazon's leading indicator, I would suggest they're going to short it. So there's a couple ways to play it. But I mean, this is beginning trading, so we're not really going to do that. I'm going to look at it and tell you what it costs to get into. So I'm getting into a butterfly call for beginner traders. I believe that Amazon's spasmodic activity right now to the downside, rejection of the intermediate on the 3-day 1 minute chart would suggest Amazon and other people are going to sell, and that sqqq. I got filled at 13. I went in at 10. It's going. All right, hang in there, folks. That's how you do it. You walk away. So I put my trade in, walk away. Let me show you your chart. You're looking at the sqqq and Amazon. Is there a correlation? Is Amazon going down? All right. Beginning traders, this is a little more advanced, but it's all led up to this. Let's go to my live screen page. All right, we're on there, aren't we? Look at Amazon. More importantly, as of 3:14, the SPY is steady. Shall we look at SPY? You guys keep an eye on SPY. 30-minute chart. On rare occasions, you can have some weird activity, right? When it's going to have its activity. I noticed weird activity on Amazon. That's what happens when you slow the ball down. All right, hang in there. Keep your eye on that. It's a distraction from what happens in the queues. So you have to get distracted. We're going to come back to the queues, which is where our money is. We're going to get where my money is. We're paying attention to my money together. If you're on this trade, you're watching me trade and you're learning from me. We're learning. Low volume will tell you what's happening tomorrow. If it's going down on low volume, it's going to start going bigger tomorrow. $2.45, we were at 561. 3 o'clock, 561. So we were 561 up 37, then it went down a little bit. Wait a minute. So were we looking at SPY? What I meant to say, let's look at shorts. So if we're shorting, we want it to go up, not down, right? We would rather be up here. So SPY is not too good for shorting. All right, what are we, or shorting the SPY? All right, we're still looking at shorting the SPY. The SPY is going down though. All right. 245, 560 to 5.30 difference. 245, 561 to 561.40. The total gain, buck. That's a lot. 15 minutes. We went from 560 in half an hour. Breath went down. Okay, so the SPY's hanging around. Catching our breath. This is that shot we were worried about. The big drop. Beginning trading mistakes. All right, so looking back at positions and trades and beginning trader advice is sometimes you got to walk away. That's what we're doing right now. Coming and going to watch the stock market in the last half hour. You gotta be logical and you gotta be rational, but every so often you have to live in your own fantasy. Look, we expected the move to happen on Friday. It happened today. So we're acting like it's a Friday. What happens in the last half hour of trading on Friday? The shit hits the kettle blows, the top on the kettle, the pot just starts going. It's all sorts of activities. All right, so um, let's look at the activity in the broader market real quick. So I said I made a mistake today. It's a small mistake because my chart, for whatever reason, I guess me incorrect data. All right, so the correct data wasn't that Amazon was falling off of a roof. It was that it was kind of coming down a little bit in a minute. And while I thought that minute data was available, it really wasn't. It was showing me yesterday's 1 minute drop around here for whatever reason. That's technology. See, I was looking at a huge move in a minute. Um, so really, what we're doing here is we're testing. Amazon is testing that yellow line, and it can't get above it. It's staying below it, but it's still beneath the red. The volume's not there. It's crossed the blue line on the 3 minute chart. It's starting to curl over. I mean, when you're in these places and gap, you have to put in your trade. You have to say either this stock is going up here or this stock is going down here. Okay. The way I chose to play it is Amazon may move the market. It may do things. So I went right to the Qs. So what I need to stop live streaming and come back at the end of the day, or I have to take care of my own, uh, my own kitchen things going on. I got cooking, speaking of pots, and I probably want to monitor my positions to make sure nothing unusual is happening because headlines, remember, sometimes drive the market. And they were saying, oh, we're selling off. We're selling off in these semiconductors. I think I have some. Okay, I have Apple. Apple I have on the to the upside. And that's kind of hanging around. We have expiring options for Apple over the weekend. We have Akamai put options. That's the one I couldn't remember. And Albemarle long, Biddy short. I had put in a lot of short positions, and because I was telling you guys that our stocks tend to react when they hit the long-term, medium, and short-term, and on the various ranges. The really important one, again, to reiterate, is the daily. So what happened is, on the daily, I think we were looking at energy stocks. Okay, right off the bat, we're looking at Vistra. I mean, we have time maybe for one more trade today, but I'm probably just going to keep it light because I made a little bit of money this week, and I'm following another beginner trader as she outlines her duties online and responsibilities, and how she's trying to cut down positions. And so, as an example, I'm just going to do one trade a day. All right. So we indicated that with Charles Schwab, you get a lot of stuff, and charts are really useful. And that we had remarked on how this line in the sand that I had drawn some time ago was being respected. So today, March 18th, the market opened, and it started going down. And you know what? It continued to go down pretty seriously for some stocks. I mean, if you compare today's price of 70, that's pretty remarkable. Seeing is believing, but if you look at where we are with Next Era at $70.50, and where we were yesterday at $72, we said that's significant. We said $72 to $70.50 is $1.50, and we said that $1.50 is 2% move in a day, and that's considerably interesting. That it could continue to go down, that we are indecisive, that we knew that there was going to be some activity today if it hit the red, which at about lunchtime it did, and it rejected it, which is kind of like what we were worried about. So it did reject it, and it's now looking at a trend line that hasn't been reached, in a few days. So Thursday, Friday were good. In the stock market, Thursday and Friday were pretty good, but what's even better for energy was last week. So we're losing a lot of the gains that we had before. Not a big whoop. Because what we're trying to do is get comfortable with perspective. We said that Next Era is at this place on the daily that is basically beneath the long term, beneath the medium term, and beneath the red. So statistically, it's in a bear market now. But we want to catch it when it goes up, because we believe there's opportunity to the plus side when there's opportunity. So we try to draw off some lines with high volume, and we know there's volume when those lines are crossed. Price goes to the average. Great. we said that for perspective, we pull out to the 3 year. We come to the 1 year, where sure enough today we went right through those red and blue lines. So we are headed in the down direction. We're beneath the long term. Uh, we're beneath the medium term, and we're beneath the short term, and that's clearly bearish. So what can I say? We were smart to pay attention, and if you're trying to get Nextera, you're trying to get it at its lowest possible price, and it's going down. Very volatile day. There's no question. That was crazy move with Nextera. If we were trying to look in even closer, we'd go to the 6 month to see what happened. Okay, on the 6 month, we crashed right through that short-term and medium-term thing today. Now, really what we like to look at is volume, and we saw it. We definitely saw some volume this week, and we definitely saw volume yesterday. Today was light, but that momentum is really what's getting us into the down direction. Despite the light, it's that momentum. So we had selling there at 76, selling at 73, and and it's taken us way the fuck down there. Does that mean confident? No, that's fine. It's not confident. On the 3 month, I can't imagine it's tell me anything different. Can you? I don't understand how it works, but yeah, it crashed through the red and blue lines today. Probably almost immediately. Is it going to show me 3 month hourly? No. So let's go to the 1 month. 1 month on the hourly. This is how you trade, people. You don't trade. You look at the momentum, and you figure out what is the right time to trade. So we thought today might be a good time to trade. Now let's look. We are on the 1 month. We said we were going to look at the hourly. We have notes from next there. It says, see the hour sloping down beneath the yellow, above point of control, and beneath the red. That was at 150. Okay, 150. I repeat, we said on the hourly, slowing down beneath the yellow. This was at 2 o'clock. Okay, right there. We said it's slowing down. Okay, it's certainly slowing down. And we see these notes are really important because since we last convened, this stock went down. All right. Crazy. This is good times. Yeah, we said there it is, slowing down. Sorry, here, 150 today is like 2 o'clock, right around here. On the hourly, it's slowing down beneath the yellow. Yep, and it went down. All right, so we were correct. This is bearish material, but it's right at that line that I am. Folks, this is crazy. Yeah, so we said it's inching up on the hourly on the yellow at around 2 o'clock, and it's retreating, and it's holding that part of resistance, and its next stop is down here. All right. Next arrow was one of them. It said, let's check out the 30-minute. Basically the same thing with more details. We are now beneath that line that I had drawn previously. Let's make sure we're not missing anything on the 10-day. We're using the 10-day for the 10 minutes. It's not going above that red line, but it's not clear to me it wants to go a lot further down, does it? Where was it? It's not closing very much as close to the low of the day. It's holding on right here, that line. Okay, but it is a bearish day. People will be crying about it. I'm going to look at Apple now. Apple's a steady Eddie. So we don't really need to do much with Apple. AWS has some pretty good news today. Apple's beneath the yellow line on the 3-year. It's got nowhere to go but up for the average. So it's not suffering too much because it's suffered. It's one that takes it on the chin more than the other stocks. It's just word of wisdom for you. Apple is ahead of the game. It suffers first. It suffers a little bit more, but it is overall the best stock around. So it doesn't do much. So it's flat. It's telling us that the stock market has a way to go down because it's first and last. Okay, it's first to go up and last, and first to go down. It's the last place you want to be. Okay. It loves the intersection of the red, the blue. It doesn't care that much about the yellow, apparently. It's not interested in that, which is to say you can tell because it came way down here. It was interested at some levels here. Anything we're missing? Here's what I'll tell you. How I've traded Apple in the past for money. You watch the 2-day activity. No, the 2-period activity. As it based, it's beneath the yellow. It's trying to move up. I'm not going to trade it today, but I'm just curious what's going on the short term. Nothing. We'll look at it tomorrow. Because what we're trying to do is make sure we don't need to act. Vistra, 3 years. It's recovered its long-term moving average, so that's healthy. How is Nextera doing? on the 3-year. Next arrow, which we like, on the 3-year, also right there at that, recovered that. So the energy stocks have done that. Apple hasn't done that. Apple hasn't done that. So on the 3-year, we were saying next there is where it's recovered. That's nice. It's going to touch that red line and either go down or not. And what are we saying it's doing on the 1-year? Higher highs. We wanted to see higher highs on this, which we did today. Higher lows. Still momentum to the downside for tomorrow. Obviously, some stocks are going to take some hits in the next 10 minutes. You're going to see the market close. I tell you what, there's going to be action. Yeah, we wanted to see a higher low on the 30-minute. We got it on next era. All right, guys, very slow day, but I imagine the next 5 minutes. I'm going to sign back on here in 5 minutes with you guys. We'll see what happens. Stocks are going to do a lot.